let's wait until everybody can get in, but in the meantime, I'm happy to welcome you to our fourth online free event. We are the Sustainable Kitchen Brigade, and I'm Isotta, the founder of the brigade. You can see my colleagues and co-host Alexandra and Valentina.
Hi.
Hello.
So please feel free to drop a message in the chat, say hi, and tell us your name and where you're based, because I think that we are having a lot of people from different places tonight. So for those who are new, just let me tell you a little bit more. What is the Sustainable Kitchen Brigade? What's the purpose of this meeting? And then we can get started. So we created earlier this year the Sustainable Kitchen Brigade with one goal: to bring together a community of people passionate about the environment and also passionate about home cooking. So we matched the three passions, and here we are. We are mastering one per month on these free events, and at each event, we always have a sustainable speaker teaching us something new about environmental and sustainability topics. And then we have always an interactive cooking class. The total duration of the event is 1 hour. Our first guest will be Naira Bonilla, an environmental communication strategist, and she will explain us how the news shapes our perception of the climate change and what we should do to not feel defeated by it, because we all know sometimes it can be hard. And after the first 30 minutes, we will transition to the cooking class with our cooking coach, Marietta. Marietta is an amazing chef. She is Italian, and she will teach us how to make a zero waste recipe, spaghettini al limone. So lemon spaghetti. I can see that more people is joining, so let's give only another couple of minutes to everybody to come in. And I would love to take advantage of this moment to share with all of you some guidelines in order for you to enjoy the best event. So as I mentioned before, feel free to say hi in the chat. Let us know your name, where you are. You can also, if you want, rename yourself on Zoom. Then, in order to see all the other participants, you can select the gallery view. It's in the option usually at the top of your screen. Of course, if you have a bigger screen like a computer or a tablet, your experience would be so much better. And don't forget that you can always pin a screen to see it bigger. And this is going to be very useful when our sustainable speaker will share her presentations and then for the cooking class. Just a reminder to all of you, this event is being recorded, so please feel free to turn off the camera if you feel more comfortable. And last guidelines is something new for today. You can see in the option that you may have a button called reactions. This allows you to send reaction without need to write in the chat or talk. So please feel free to use it. If you want to send us a big heart or a thumb up, whatever you want, you can play a little bit with this reaction. So now I think that everybody is settled. I'm gonna stop sharing my screen so Naira we can start with the main part of the event, the first main part of the event. Let me introduce you a little bit, Naira. Naira, as we said, I'm gonna repeat as I see that there is someone new just join us. Naira Bonilla is an environmental communication strategist. She now is based in Barcelona, if I'm not wrong, and She will tell us today how the news shapes our perception of climate change and how not feel defeated by it. So, Naira, feel free to share your screen. I know that you have also a presentation for yourself to share with us, so I'm not gonna say anything else. And please, everybody, if you have any type of question for Naira, just write a message in the chat, and at the end of her presentation, we're gonna we're gonna read your question, and she will answer to any type of question that you may have.
Yeah.
So, thank you.
Okay, thank you. Thank you, Sota, so much for the introduction and for putting this together. So yes, I have a presentation for all of you that I'm going to share right now, and I'll tell you more about me and yeah, what I'm going to talk about today. Can you see the slides? Wait, let me put this.
Yeah, we can see it.
Wait. Okay. So what I'm going to talk about today is how the news shapes our perception of climate change and how not to feel defeated, because what we see in the news all the time, it's always very dramatic, or that's how I see it, right? You go in and all the time it's like fires, droughts, something happened. It's just so much chaos and drama. So first I'll tell you a little bit about me. So I'm Naira, and what I do is that I'm an environmental communication strategist, and that means that I help NGOs and social enterprises improve their digital communication so they can share their environmental impact and create stronger communities and get more donors, which is great because that means that getting more funds to invest on climate and environmental strategies. But that's what I do. That's like my professional description. And on a personal level, I've loved communicating since I was little because half of my family lives in the United States and half of my family lives in Colombia, where I'm originally from. So I always had this need and this desire to communicate with people that spoke different languages. Some of them spoke one language, some of them didn't. So since I was little, I've always had a passion for communicating. And then when I saw An Inconvenient Truth, that it's a movie that came out like many years ago from Al Gore, that's when it sparked in me that I needed to get more involved in the environment. And then now I have managed to merge these two things together. So that's what I do now. And so before we get started, so we're all on the same page. So what is climate change? So climate change is any type of change that happens in our atmosphere. So it can be more temperature, more rainfall, less rainfall over extended period of time. So what's happening now is human-made climate change. So it means that activities that we do on a day-to-day basis, so like transportation, building things, industry, so producing a lot of things, agriculture, all this emits greenhouse gases, and these gases cause that the atmosphere traps the heat. So we have heat coming in from the sun, and these gases make it so that these gases, the heat stays inside and we feel hotter. So this is what's happening now. This is the climate change that we're going to talk about. It's human-made climate change. And first, before we start, I want you all to think, how does the media, the newspapers, social media, the radio, podcast, how does the media talk about climate change? If you want to share one or two words in the chat, you're more than welcome to. So what I was telling you before is that for me, climate change, how it's portrayed in the media, it's very almost like dramatic, like a catastrophe, right? So it's like how you see in the news, or in movies. I remember like a movie that came out that was called The Day After Tomorrow or something like this, that it was like a huge snowstorm and then everyone gets caught in the snow. So this is how I see that it's portrayed in the media. So yeah, I'm seeing in the chat. Oh wait, what happened? Did I stop sharing? Oh yes, I clicked it by mistake. Okay. So so yeah, I can see some words in the chat. I saw that it was like catastrophe, urgency. So this is usually what like fires all the time. It's, it's just drama always. So this is what we have, and this is what I'm going to show you now. So what we have now and what we see in communication in the media is alarm, disaster, and fear. And so I have some headlines here and some images. So it's important that we know that everything that we read is intentional. So if we read like the words that the news are using, they thought about these words, right? Someone like put thought into the words and the images. And so it's not a coincidence how they are framing the news that we are seeing. So for example, this first one, I love this. This was a news that came out recently. And it said, oil giants are dealt major defeats on climate change as pressures intensify. So when you first read this, when I read this, I got really, really upset because here they say that the oil giants are the ones that are the good guys that lost in this scenario. And you will see the headline from another news in the next slide, and you will see what the situation was. And defeats on climate change as pressures intensify. So that means that there's pressures. We don't know from who. We don't know what's happening. We just know that something happened to the oil giants and it was bad for them. But we have no idea what's happening. So first, this sort of like not giving us all the information is what contributes to our fear and our alarm, because we don't really know what's happening. And the same happens with the next two headlines. It says here, facing sweltering soldiers and flooded ports, NATO to focus on climate change. So if I read this, I know that NATO is an organization that deals with security across the world. So then soldiers, flooded ports, climate change. So this like feeds on our alarm and the fear. And the third one, it links hurricanes, which are a natural disaster, with migrants. So this is also very, when we read this, it's very important that we notice, okay, is this really related? Because sometimes in a lot of cases, they blame climate change, like the media blames climate change for everything. And that's also not the case. And it, adds a layer on existing conflicts. And this makes it no more alarming for us, for the general public. So then we don't know what's happening, right? We don't know what's the situation. We don't know if these hurricanes are hurricanes that already existed, that already passed, hurricanes that are coming. And it really leaves us with a sense of, I don't know what's happening. This is a very big issue. So I'm just going to disconnect, right? And the same thing happens with the images. The images are super, super important because what all the images we see here are catastrophe images, right? There are no people, and the only people that we see is like on the image with the girl in the ice, that it's a far away, like communities that are far away usually, that we don't know where they are and that we can't relate. So for example, I have never been in the Arctic, I have never been in the ice. So for me, this picture doesn't resonate with me. And as a reader, I can completely just ignore it and say like, okay, this is not happening to me. Or these big factories, these are things that I also don't see on a day-to-day basis. I don't work with these factories, so I can completely disconnect from what's happening. Or the super catastrophic images that just create fear. And in the same way, we feel that it's such a big issue that our personal actions are not going to help with anything. And so this is what we have now. And what we want, and what some media outlets are doing, is this. So what we want is accountability, collective action, solutions, and people. So the headline that I read before, let me show you again. Oil giants are dealt major defeats on climate change as pressures intensify. In another news outlet, it was this one on the top left. Court orders Royal Dutch Shell to cut carbon emissions by 45% by 2030. So people sued Shell, that's an oil company, and the Dutch government, the Dutch courts, said that Shell was to blame and that they should cut their carbon emissions. So if you see, this is a completely different way of sharing the story, right? The other one is oil giants face a defeat of what? We don't know. And this is what we want. So it's really important that when you read, if you also read these kind of like very catastrophic headlines, keep in mind that this is not always the truth, and there is always more to the truth, right? It's not that things are not happening. Things are happening, but why are they happening? Who is responsible, and how can we take action? So that's what we need to analyze. The other thing here is at the other headline below it shows the accountability. What is a billionaire's role in saving the planet? So it's okay. It shows accountability and it proposes solutions. So what's going to happen with this? And the same with these other headlines. The one on the right, the blue one, it says consumers are demanding more sustainable seafood and it's working. So this shows that collective action, together, consumers gathered and they demanded for something and it's working. And then the article tells us how. And the other one in the center that says what Pacific Islanders know about climate change and injustice. So it puts people at the center. We know who we are talking about in this specific article, Pacific Islanders, and what is happening to them and what can they tell us about it. And if you see the images, it's exactly the same. So in the images, we have real people in the right, real people putting solar panels on the roof. This is a specific solution that we can take. On the second image is a woman tending to this like field of plants. So this is not the typical image of a catastrophe or a drought. This is an image that, you know, gives this woman power, and she is doing something that will propose a solution to climate change. And the other two images are images that show the causes. So as I said at the beginning, the causes are industry, are transportation, are buildings, manufacturing, oil, cement. So these images, they show people also, and this could be that's something more related to us. This could be us, right? I could be, you know, maybe not driving this truck, but I could be buying, you know, I can be, if I have the capacity to, I don't know, build my own house, I can be building my own house. So when I do this now, I know that this is part of the problem and I can be part of the solution. And with this is not that we have to solve everything together, is that collectively we can create change. So that's why it's very important to highlight the collective actions, because sometimes you will also see in the news that especially big companies promote a lot of individual actions. So for example, Nestle and Unilever, they say like, okay, then consumers can recycle at home. But this individual action is not what's going to save us. So what we need to do is, okay, then all of us together, we are going to demand Unilever and, you know, all these big brands and Coca-Cola and all of them to pick up the trash and the plastic. This is not up to us. This is us gathering and holding people accountable and demanding solutions. So this is the first step. So to know what's happening, to know the information that we're getting and the narrative that we're getting. So we have disaster on one side, which is what a lot of news outlets do. And on the other side, we have accountability, action, and solutions, and people-oriented. And so what can we do moving forward, which is what I want to talk in the second part. So if we can't imagine the future, we can't work towards it. So if we see all the time catastrophe and forest fires and floods, then this is going to shape our image of the future. The future we have is this: floods, catastrophes, and fires. So now we need to think how we want to see the future. So you can think, maybe not right now because we wouldn't have time, but you can think after this, you can make a list of how you see the future. And I got a lot of ideas from a book I read that's called The Future We Choose. This is the book. On the bottom is the book. So if you want to read it, it's a great book. And so these are some ideas that I got from the book and also that I get from seeing what's around me in Barcelona. That's the city that I live. So what is the future that we want? The future that I want is cities full of fruit trees and community gardens, electric vehicles that are not noisy, buildings that produce their own compost, energy, and that recycle water. All products come in reusable and refillable containers, and companies are held accountable. So this is the future I want, and this is what, now that I can see this, I can work towards this, right? So in your specific, on what you do on your day-to-day basis, you can start thinking, okay, what would be the future I want? You know, that is not a catastrophe, that is not a disaster. So if you work with food, or if you're interested in food, then okay, then fruits that come from nearby towns. So then, okay, how can I work towards that? Maybe I'll invest a little bit more time researching what are, you know, like farmers markets that I can go to, maybe on the weekend. So that can be, you know, working towards the future. If I live in the countryside, for example, not everyone lives in cities. If I live in the countryside, then maybe something that I would want to have a more sustainable future is to have more networks of people that work, that share food or more sustainable energy, or we can have a network, a grid of solar energy. Anyway, anything that you feel that in your life could be improved, that you can work towards it as a society, and that can make us have more sustainable systems and sustainable communities. And well, this is what I want to leave you with, is let's find and share solutions and actions. So when we have, you know, when we see the problem. So we already know that the problem is industry, transportation, consumption, fossil fuels, all this. Then when we think about the future, we create a new narrative, a new story, and then we find the solution that's gonna link from what we have now. Like we are in a hard moment, like the planet is going through a lot of, you know, dramatic things. But what we need to find is the link from that to the future we want. And probably all these ideas that come to mind can be a great solution, and we don't even know about it because a lot of the times we don't, you know, these solutions are not discussed in the media. So we also don't know what are these solutions. But a solution can be just talking about it with your friends and family. That's the main climate solution that we can do. Just start talking about it with our friends, with our family, with our business places, with our works, with, you know, other entrepreneurs, whatever. And that can lead us, you know, to not feel defeated. And when we read something now, it's not, okay, this is horrible, but okay, this is probably one part of the story. Let's find the other part of the story, and let's, you know, gather with people to find solutions. So this is what I want to leave you with. And so that's it. Let's connect. I want to hear from you, and just, you know, keep this conversation going and keep talking about this, and not feel defeated. And just remember that all the messages that we receive are intentional, right? Someone chose those words, someone chose those images, and knowing that just gives us, you know, makes us, like, at least to me, it helps a lot knowing that, you know, this is not the whole part of the story, and investigating and researching more and talking to people, you know, can make you feel less isolated and more hopeful. So yeah.
Thanks a lot, Naira. That's amazing. Really. Thank you. Very insightful. And I find it very impressive. I don't know if in the meanwhile, if we wait for some question, Alex, in the chat. In the meanwhile, I'm really was shocked about the Shell example that you share with us, because really make everything different from the same news, a totally different point of view, right? It's really shocking. And what I really appreciate of your explanation is to understand how sometimes we detach from things because we don't feel they are familiar with. And I read that they also call like environmental racism, because sometimes you see poor countries, they are floating, but you think, okay, because they build up the houses just in a way that they get destroyed. So it's not my thing. I live in a place where this is not going to happen, but it's not the case, right? Because it's happening unlikely everywhere. So we really have to get not panic, but focus on things. And about the different news, I have an example of the Happy broadcast. I don't know if you know it. I love it. It's just I will send in the chat in a while. It's a social profile that just share good news about environmental on a weekly basis, and it goes from what the cities are doing actually to implement a more green policy, or I don't know, the panda is not dying anymore, or things like that. So it's super useful for me. So I don't know if you get that an example you can share, because sometimes it's hard to find the right information, right? Sometimes the big titles get the big bunch of what we have, and it's really hard to find a good news or a different kind of communication, as you mentioned. It's because we have to filter a lot, but if we find resources that already are better, in a way, it could be a lot easier.
Yeah, totally. I totally agree with you. Exactly.
Good.
Okay, so I saw that you already answered to one of the questions, Naira. Thank you. better than you about the book. We got other two questions. One is, do you think that the media are pushed by government and big cops to bring us ignoring the problem by scaring us and shape it far from our lives? Because they don't want that we organize massive movement. What's your opinion about?
Definitely. So there's a lot of debate about this, and there's a lot of push for the media to stop receiving subsidies, or like to stop receiving money from ads from fossil fuels. So for example, the New York Times receives money from fossil fuels and has huge ads that promote the use of oil, for example. So of course, the media is their interest, they're not free of interest. They have a conflict of interest there, because they can't, blame the fossil fuels in every article if they are receiving money from advertising, which is like one of the main revenues for newspapers. So this is definitely, in some cases it is. And companies also do it with their own marketing campaigns, like big companies like Coca-Cola, the fossil fuel companies, Shell, British Petroleum, all this. The solutions they always share is they put it on us. So the individual solution, they don't want us to think of collective solutions, because collective solutions are like if 100 people go and, I don't know, 100 workers from inside Coca-Cola, for example, they say like, we don't want to work with this in this place anymore. We want more, a strict commitments on climate change. Then that's a huge change, right? That's like, it really puts pressure. But if the solution is just like you by yourself recycle at home, then they make people, there's no movement. It's just all of us separate and we can't unite. So I don't know if this is intentional and if they sit together and like scheme this in a dark room, but it definitely is what happens. And there's also push, for example, for advertising agencies to stop advertising and doing campaigns to clean the image of fossil fuel companies. So yes.
Okay, so we have that, and the last question we receive is about suggestions. So what do you suggest to get or verify the catastrophic news we receive every day? So if you have some suggestions, some website that you suggest just to double check or to have another point of view about what we receive.
I think, yeah, that's a bit harder because how we can verify things is that we need to be very informed. So of course it's hard because not everyone can be informed of all the topics, but I can suggest some news sites. So for example, The Guardian is committed to covering climate change in a way that is objective. And for example, they use the word climate crisis instead of climate change, because climate change is very, very broad and very calm, you know, right? Like, oh, things change, it's fine. But if you say climate crisis, then that puts a lot more. So The Guardian is one. There's another website I like a lot that's called Grist. I can write it in the chat in a little bit. And that also shows a different side of climate news. So I think it's more like the, you know, looking at these platforms. But if you look at the main, like the headline of Shell, the first one, was from the Wall Street Journal. Well, of course, their interests are very tied, you know, to money and to oil. So if you're getting your news from there, then keep that in mind. Like, who is this news? Like, what is this news outlet? What are the interests? You know, who's writing this? Why are they writing this? And have the correct information. Sometimes because people don't know, they mention a lot of different scientific concepts. But if you don't know, then, you know, it's better not to blindly trust something, and either do your own research or read in other news outlets that you do trust.
About the questions, we don't have any more. Feel free for the others to add maybe the last one, or we can thanks Naira.
Thank you, Naira.
Yeah.
Very insightful.
Yeah, thank you so much. I was very looking forward to this because several months ago we had a chat together, Naira and I, on her Instagram lives, and we talked about this, like the differences between collective actions and individual actions. And you know, I still can't find my solution. So I'm gonna leave this meeting in a while, like keep thinking about my own solutions, because I, most of the time, really feel defeated by the news. And not only regarding the climate crisis, but also any type of news that I read. So it's super important, I think, what you suggested, to always keep in mind that the titles and the words used are put there like to scare us or to make us make some connections, and like a little bit to move our way of about thinking about like the world. So yes, this was super helpful. Thank you so much. And everybody, you have all the contacts to reach out to Naira directly in the chat. We're going to share again later in the next days the links to contact her directly. And if you have any other questions, please feel free to write them, even if we are keep going forward with the event, and we'll make sure that we will share all of them with Naira. And Naira, thank you so much. Now, if you want to stay and enjoy Marietta cooking class, you're more than welcome. And thanks a lot for being here with us today.
Yeah, it's my pleasure. Thank you all for inviting me.
Thanks. Thanks. Now, everybody, if you're going to cook along, I know that today we have here like our youngest member. He's here, so he wanted to join us because he was really into Marietta cooking class. Excuse me if I don't pronounce correctly. Your name is Rowan Kroll. and he is like he's 15, so of course he can't be in the recording, but we're very happy for you to be here with us. And so I believe that you all have already the ingredients prepared, and you all completed the steps needed before the cooking class started. Hi, thank you for joining us. And I'm gonna prepare my ingredients as well. I have everything here, and I will leave like I will let Marietta starting. Marietta is an amazing chef. She is Italian. Not sure where she is based right now because she travels a lot, but we are ready. So whenever you want, Marietta, we are eager to learn from you. Thank you.
I thank you to invite me and welcome in my home, half Frida Kahlo Garden and half Jardin Majorelle in Marrakech. Je suis Frida Sanra. Okay. So, about sustainable. This recipe, the recipe of this night, is really, really, really sustainable because we use only one pan, one fire, so, and the lemon peels of a squeezed lemon, and all ingredients common in every home. Okay. It's quickly, it's simple, and it's so tasty. So, have you all the ingredients? I make the recap. Persil, chili, hot chili, garlic, anchovies, if you like, salt, olive oil, very good olive oil, and peels of squeezed lemon. The peels, I put the peels in the water the night before to have the extract of all the essential oil and all the smell of my lemon. This is lemon from my garden. Okay, let's start. Fire. High fire, medium high, okay? Olive oil. I'm preparing for two because I have my friend Juliana. Less or more, 2 tablespoons of oil each people, okay? Each person. So I put inside garlic. And chili. I open it because I love a very hot chili flavor. Okay?
Can we use dry chili?
Hot chili, red hot chili.
Yes, okay.
Okay. Let's gold the garlic, but don't burn it. Okay. Just 1 minute more. Okay, and now I take off the chili because become bitter, and I take off the garlic. Okay. We can reuse the garlic for the next time. Okay.
Perfect.
If you don't burn, you can reuse for the next time. Now I have done choice.
Okay.
Let's liquefy. Control the fire. Nothing must burn. And now I go inside with my water. The weight of water is the double of the weight of pasta. Okay.
Okay.
Now I wait for boiling water and put inside the spaghettini. It's important to use spaghettini because it's two tiny spaghetti.
Okay, they are thin.
And it's getting cooked in a very short time, 5 or 6 minutes. Okay. In the water, I can add the tree of basil. Have you mosquito at home? Now it's boiling.
The smell is a bit sweet.
With pasta. Okay. Don't turn the pasta with fork. No. Only turning the pan. Or the spaghettini become broken.
And why do we do that?
We don't want to broken spaghetti because
Okay.
there is an important question for Italian people. Don't broken spaghetti.
Yes. Totally.
There is a fighter. Because to have spaghetti, the long spaghetti, there is beside a real hard work. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The smell is something delicious.
The smell is delicious. The taste, the same.
And you know, I've never thought about using the stalks of parsley to like infusioning the flavor to make pasta. My first time ever making this type of pasta.
It's a good trick to infuse the tree of parsley in the water of pasta.
Yeah.
Okay, in the water where you boiling pasta. Okay.
Yeah, I've never done it before, but I think I'll keep doing it.
Now I taste the salt. I add more, I need more.
Okay, salt.
This is a recipe base. A basic recipe. You can add this recipe, some cheese if you prefer, or colatura di alici. Colatura di alici is a sustainable product because it's the water, the liquid of fermentation of the anchovies in salt. Okay.
Yeah, it's not something that's common everywhere. In Italy, I think in every home we have some, but here in Spain, for example, it's not that easy to find.
And Marietta, Tina, you're also saving a lot of water cooking the spaghetti. You're also saving a lot of water cooking the spaghetti like that.
Save water. We don't use soap to wash many pot, pan, fork.
Yeah, perfect.
This is a great recipe.
Yeah, and where did you learn it? It's like a family secret, or you invented it at some point?
This is a little bit reinventation of an old recipe that my grandmother used for therapy for the disturbance of belly.
Okay. That's awesome. And you changed it like with the by adding the anchovies, or?
Sorry?
We want to know the original recipe. We want your mom's original recipe.
My original recipe of my grandmother. She put inside only in simple boiling pasta, simple cooked pasta. She squeezed lemon juice and peels of lemon. More Parmigiano.
Okay. Cool.
And doesn't cook olive oil.
Okay.
Okay.
Oh, no, I love this. The smell is something really amazing.
I need a little bit more water.
Yeah. Okay. And it's also super quick to make.
How are going your spaghetti?
Ah, no, super. Okay, you're adding more water?
I had a little bit of time.
Okay. Ah, like a risotto.
Because allora, yeah.
A little bit like a risotto, little by little.
For many Italian people, this is an horrific recipe because the risottatura della pasta is an horror.
Why? I don't agree.
But they are very integralist, fundamentalist.
Yeah.
Come on, you can risottare la pasta. You have to some kind of pasta to do it.
Okay. Allora.
I'm gonna try. Let's try.
Assaggia. Sì. I'm attested. I need a little bit more salt.
Yes, more salt, me too. But it's delicious.
Okay. Mine are cooked. I add basil.
Okay, fresh.
A little bit more of olive oil, extra virgin olive oil. A little bit more of lemon peels, grated lemon peels.
Wow. And this is perfect also if, I mean, you have to use lemon and you have to squeeze the lemon and then you have the peels. What can you do with the peels? Yeah. You soak them and then you make this pasta.
The lemon is fantastic. It's similar at pig for the meat. Oh, nice.
Wow.
Nice.
It's delicious.
Girl,
it's perfect for the summer.
The smell is fantastic.
Now, the smell is amazing. Let me take a picture of your screens because this is a great moment.
And now we go to the test.
Nice. Yes, everybody remember that you can pin Marietta's screen so you can see directly her pan and how she prepared this incredible food.
Wow, a very 80s decoration.
Oh, awesome.
Juliana.
Amazing.
Juliana.
Hi, Juliana.
Bye.
Lucky you that have to taste it.
I'm the lucky one.
Yes, you are, indeed.
You are. I think that
Devi dire con me, vieni qua.
we all have someone here who wants to
Come here. You're already risotto.
I I think we all have someone here at home who is waiting to try this recipe. I have a hungry wife in the other rooms over there, and yes, I know that this is like her best appointment of the month, because every time I cook something new and different, and then she gets to eat it. So.
Eat it. Very good.
Yeah, I know. Marietta, thank you so much. I love this recipe. Let's see if
Naira mentioned that she could not make it today because she's going out, but she will try. And also
okay.
Julia, really appreciate that.
Yes.
Okay, you can find in Instagram the recipe in my stories about lemon. Okay.
Okay.
There is the history lemon zero waste.
we're gonna share all your contacts with everybody, and also in the next days, you're gonna all receive an email with again the recipe if you want to download it, the contacts to reach out to Marietta directly. She also gives amazing cooking classes, so if you want to take advantage, contact her, and I'm sure that she can teach you huge and amazing recipes. And also, because if not, Valentina is gonna scold me, I didn't tell you at the beginning of the event that we are celebrating Free Plastic July. And so we have a challenge for you all on Instagram and Facebook, and there is a prize for those who want to participate. So Valentina, I don't know if you want to just—
Yes, absolutely. I will pin here the post, because there is a post of a couple of weeks ago where you can share which is your favorite plastic-free swap. So if you change anything recently, or which is the plastic-free habits that you have that you prefer, and if you share the name of some of your friends, so if you tag some friends in the comment, then you can participate to the prize. That is an amazing bag, original from the Sustainable Kitchen Brigade, and we will announce the winner at the end of the month. So you still have 10 days to do that, and I hope that it will go in good hands. Of course, it's a shopper in 100% cotton that you can use to go around and go shopping without plastic. Of course, that's our aim. So I will send you over here in the chat the post.
Of course, we're gonna add it in the email too.
Indeed.
So I think that we have finished all the announcements, right? And maybe we can probably start eating this delicious plate. Let's see. Enrica didn't prepare it tonight, but try. Yes, please do it, and then let Marietta knows what you think. And I'm gonna prepare myself to eat this amazing plate. That's here. The proof I made it, and I can't wait to eat it. And thank you so much again for joining us. We will be waiting for you next month. If I'm not wrong, the 26th of August.
Indeed.
Yeah,
and we are going to have, for the first part, Claire. She's the CEO of an amazing company that upcycle food. So it's a bit strange as a concept, but it's going really popular, and it's very, very needed to not waste food. So for example, she do chips with the soy that is not used in some food processes of other products. So she used what cannot be used anymore from the main factory, for example, and she do biscuits, chips, as I mentioned, and she's based in California. So now mainly is for US, but the concept itself, it's really good also for the rest of the world, also for us in Europe. I find out there are already companies that are also delivering in Europe already. So I think that it's a very interesting topic, because sometimes, especially with food, we are a bit scared of things that are not super fresh, or just the first le primizie, we say, so just came out, but it's not like that. So we've learned that we really can use everything multiple times in a lot of different ways. Also, the Marietta, we discussed with Marietta last time that also our grandmothers did a lot of things, right, to not waste the food. It's a way to put together, and a lot of recipes, especially from southern Italy, are put together all the leftovers and making something good for the day after. So I think that will be really a really interesting topic. And Alex, I don't remember by heart who we are going to have as a cook.
We still do have some confirmation, but
Okay.
of course, as soon as we have the topic from Clara, we will let you know
The date
soon.
exactly. Okay, yeah, we will share in stories, in invite, and in the coming newsletter. Good.
Amazing. So thank you all for coming here, and we will let you know in the next days, and we will share with you the recording of this event. Thanks a lot, everyone. Have a great rest of the day or evening, depending on where you're based. Thanks again, Naira and Marietta.
Thank you, guys.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Bye.
See you next time.
Bye.